Morning, Charmaine Richardson. Rena, morning to you, Rena Jennings. Neil Francois, always present. Morning, sir. The Patriot, morning. Today, Marie Williams, morning. Morning, Roxanne. Glenn, thank you, sir. Yes, this cough has given me a temporary respite this morning, so I said I'm gonna jump on for a little bit before it comes back. Earl Turpin, morning. Juju Bernard, morning. Morning, Rookman. Baba Osei, morning. Annie Frederick. Alison Boyce, morning to you. Elizabeth Allen, morning. Phyllis Antoine. Winston Jack. I'm a little better today, Phyllis. Um, as I was saying just now, the cough has given me a little bit of a respite. It is the worst I've ever had. Angela Kito, morning. Minat Lazare, morning. Sarah Richards. Jocelyn Smallwhite, morning to you guys. Yes, Roxanne, I tried several remedies. This thing awful, boy. I'm a little better today, Claire. You see, Claire says she's still battling with the cold sincerity. Yeah, this thing is just terrible. Rosemary Headley, morning. Alison Rogers Joseph, morning. Joy George, morning to you. Thank you so much, Joy. Morning, Anna. Lucy Brown, Desmond, morning. Philomena Collins, morning. Good morning to His Excellency, President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor. Yes, Nigel, it's terrible. I have a couple of friends who told me they had it, and weeks later, this cough just doesn't want to leave. Deborah Duranty, morning. Donna Seeley, morning. Thank you so much, Annette. Leon Graves, morning. So, let's see here. Jennifer Nathan, Pamela Nelson, morning to you guys. Julia Spooner, Merry Christmas to you too. Just put this here. Hi, Joy. So let me get this here. I have to battle this heat because it seems like this air conditioning just aggravates it. So, where is this? Is it this newspaper? Morning, Ashley. Right, so much things happened over the last week. I wouldn't be able to touch on everything today. Certainly not. But yeah, this week, last week gone. Black seed oil. All right, I will look into that. Morning, Marlene. Morning, Anon. Let's see something here. So, just checking the Facebook profiles of just 3 people. Let me see here. Mm-hmm. Right. So what's the time there? 11:06. So I guess the other folks will join in. Sharon Williams, morning. Denise Cummings, morning to you. Tina Marie, Christmas week. Yes, the week before Christmas. So I know some of you all doing your cleaning up and so on. So I saw an article in today's Guardian entitled "Please do not Shut Up, and it's an article by Professor Hamid Ghani. Most of you would know who Hamid Ghani is. I'm not going to read the full thing, right? But it says just before Guyana's leader of the opposition, Aubrey Norton's interview at Langton National Television last week, our Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, called on our opposition to shut up on the Guyana matter. And this was a shocking call to silence a duly elected opposition that has a constitutionally mandated role to play in our political system just as much as Guyana's opposition has its role there. The fact that President Mohamed Ali of Guyana has not called upon the Guyanese opposition leader to shut up over this border impasse with Venezuela made the call by our Prime Minister even more alarming. He says our constitution requires that the leader of the opposition be appointed from among those MPs who do not support the government right now. Constitution could not be clearer, and we are not a one-party totalitarian dictatorship, but rather a functioning democracy that operates on the basis of the majority of the black people of those things. So he goes on to give us the whole history of the 1818 tie and all of those things. Right. He says the opposition is expected to challenge, right, and the day that it shuts up or lends support to government policies without putting forward alternatives is the day that we become a one-party dictatorship. To again borrow a term from our former president, Anthony Carmona, these men and women of letters. You know, I just happened to come upon this article, and it was in line with one of the things I wanted to touch on this morning, where Hamid Ghani playing smart with foolishness, because he needs to put into context, and this is something they do, not just him, but more so the opposition, where they tend to skew things that the Prime Minister says, the context in which it was said, and then they come and they present. So the Prime Minister told the opposition to shut up, and we all know why, because of their constant calls for him and for his government to play mediator between Guyana and Venezuela, right? And the Prime Minister, prior to his call for the opposition to shut up, would have indicated why it is impractical for him or his government to try to intervene, to play mediator. And he would have outlined the reasons, which again he did at the very same press conference where he told the opposition to shut up, right? You would think that Kamala Persaud's sister was never a prime minister and she doesn't understand how the things work, because her utterances at the last Monday Night Forum, or the Monday Night Forum before that, telling Nicolas Maduro, you touch one, you touch all, and that kind of gun talk, you know, shooting from the hip. But I didn't see Hamid Ghani, maybe I missed it, but I didn't see him write any article here, commentary, condemning the leader of the opposition for that particular statement. Because that statement can have implications, not just now, but as I keep saying, if she becomes prime minister in 2025, God forbid, it begs the question, how is she going to relate to Mr. Maduro, who I'm sure is well aware of the things that she has said, all of those statements that were made, telling him if you touch one, you touch all, and if you come for Ghana, you come for all of us, and all of these things, and she stands with Ghana. The interesting thing about that, they were calling for mediation. But when a similar situation arose in 2015 when she was prime minister, I didn't see her rushing to play mediator. Instead, she made her position known at Trinidad and Tobago, and she spoke about it 2 Mondays ago. She put up an article. She read out the article, which spoke about, you know, her indicating that she stands with Ghana and so on, and she respects Ghana's territorial sovereignty and whatnot. She made that point again to say, well, look, when I faced a similar situation, this is what I did. But Rowley, he's a coward. He hiding behind dragon gas, so he's not going to say anything. The same Keith Rowley that you said is incompetent, the same Keith Rowley that you said is inept, the same Keith Rowley that you told us was outsmarted by the energy companies when he went to London recently to sign off on the Atlantic LNG agreement and all of these things. The same Rowley, Keith Rowley, who you say don't be from Bullfoot in how to govern. The same Keith Rowley that you've been criticizing non-stop for the last 8 years, 9 years going into. The same Keith Rowley that you wanted to play mediator, right? Even when it was announced, or it was made public that Ralph Gonsalves had been trying for the last 10 weeks to arrange a meeting between Maduro and Irfan Ali. They're still calling on Dr. Rowley to play mediator. So in other words, they're telling Dr. Rowley, you need to upend the efforts of Ralph Gonzalez, 10-week efforts of Ralph Gonzalez, you need to upend that. The efforts of CELAC, headed by pro tempore President Ralph Gonzalez, you need to ignore that too. And you need to step in and use your influence, because then you and Maduro is good friend. So pick up the phone, call Miraflores and tell him, hey, we need to sit down. I want to sit down with you and Irfan, and we need to have a chat. That's what you should have done. And tell Ralph Gonzalez, forget you, all your tail, all these things that you've been trying to do. That is what they wanted Dr. Rowley to, apparently. But in reading this headline, please do not shut up. It seems somebody need to send that article to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, to Anil Roberts, and all the rest of them who spoke in the Senate recently when they brought the private motion with respect to the drug and gas deal. Because it was since Thursday, this meeting took place first of all, between the president of Ghana and the leaders of CARICOM, and then subsequently the meeting between himself and Nicolas Maduro, at which an agreement came out, which basically puts all of this whole situation to bed. Both countries have agreed there will not be any use of force, any type of aggression, and they will allow the rule of law to take place, and all of these things. In fact, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was present in the room, Avery Brown, gave an account of what would have happened, and he indicated that the outcome the outcome of that meeting exceeded expectations, because based on the posture of Mr. Ali and Mr. Maduro, when they first met, when they went into the meeting, they weren't they weren't expecting a positive outcome, because, as he said, it was a tense atmosphere. Both sides seemed to be ready to duke it out. So they were very surprised with what came out. I think they were expecting Maduro to come in there, bang his fist on the desk and on the table, make demands on all of these different things. That didn't happen. So they were pleasantly surprised with what the outcome was. Right? That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm sure they had a waste of time press conference this morning. Up to now, when I checked the Facebook page of the leader of the opposition, or the misleader of the opposition, or the leader of the obstruction, there is no press release, no statement, nothing of any kind commending CARICOM for the efforts that they would have made to bring these two parties together, to treat with what could have been, or what people thought would have been, a major situation that could have developed within the region. And particularly since over the last couple of weeks, the opposition has been all gung-ho. They're so concerned about what's happening, and they want to know, and the Prime Minister needs to intervene, and all of that, and use his relationship with Maduro to hammer out talks and all of this. They were the most vocal about this. They were so concerned that they brought a private motion to the Senate. I had plenty to say. In fact, when the last speaker in the debate, which has been suspended until the next opportunity, Damian Leiter was speaking, around that same time, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, would have handed down some interim judgment with respect to that matter. And the Doglaya pulled out his phone. Breaking news, hot off the press. And he hands his phone to Leiter. Says, read that, judgment from the ICJ. And Leiter decides to read out and say, so you see, we're waiting on December the 3rd to see what is the outcome of the referendum, all of that. But we know that the US is going to reimpose sanctions on Venezuela and all of that. And this drug and gas deal will be dead in the water after that. The Doglaya, all of that they were saying. Yeah? All of that they were saying. But now, the situation seems to have been quelled. The parties have met. The heads of the two main countries have met and hammered out an agreement, which means that we're not going to see any type of aggression unless Mr. Maduro changes his mind, which I don't think he will. As I said before, all of this was just grand charge. Mr. Maduro was never really serious about any direct intervention. He has accomplished what he wanted to settle, to let the Venezuelan people know, or at least believe, that he is willing to go the full distance with respect to getting back to settling this centuries-old land dispute between their country and Guyana. So now, those persons who may have been on the fence, some of them anyway, See, yeah, well, this man is a liberator. This man looking for our best interest. Some of them would be saying that. And to rally nationalist support for those persons who are inclined to get back that piece of land that they claim to be theirs. Not one word of congratulations to CARICOM. Not Dr. Rowley. Yes, he was a part of the CARICOM meeting, but the opposition, you don't have to give him any praise. CARICOM, we've seen foreign governments, the likes of Canada and others, have sent out statements commending and congratulating CARICOM on the work that they have done with respect to this matter, dealing with it regionally without requiring the intervention of international mediators or without the use of force or anything in record time. When Dr. Rowley had his press conference the other day, when he came back and he was talking about what he went to the UK for, what he signed, and all of these different things, before he could even finish the press conference, while he talking, they write in press statement to send out. Before he even finished, he's still talking. The Doglaya couldn't wait till he finished. He ran to do a doubles and coffee, right? To do a live, to lie on the Prime Minister and say the Prime Minister said things that he didn't say. To claim in his live at the start that the Prime Minister said the Commission of Inquiry report into the Paria tragedy would not be laid in Parliament and would not be made public. But I played for you all my last live where the Prime Minister said no such things, and in fact he said the exact opposite. But as soon as the press conference finished, before the Prime Minister could take off his microphone, the leader of the opposition posted up press release criticizing the Prime Minister on his utterances in the press conference. She posted on her Facebook page to be sent out to members of the media for wider publication, right? Within minutes, Thursday, this meeting took place. Friday, Saturday, today is Sunday. Not one press statement. Not one word on the matter. That this issue that they were so concerned about, not one word. Not from her. The Doglaya has since done one live, and in that live, he's talking about Republic Bank and Alison Lewis and how she has retired from the board of Republic and she has been replaced by Mark Loquan, president of NGC, and talking about Nikwan and all this kind of foolishness. But this is the man who talked for a whole 45 minutes in the Senate on this dragon gas thing and the situation with Guyana and Venezuela. 45 minutes, and told the president 45 is not enough. We probably need another 45. All of a sudden, but Hamid says, please do not shut up. Well, Hamid, it seems that they have willfully chosen to shut up. And I doubt it has to do anything to do with the Prime Minister telling them to shut up. Right? But you telling them in your article today, please do not shut up. I waiting. I checked Munilal Facebook page, I ain't seen nothing. Kamla Facebook page, nothing. Anil, nothing. None of them has had anything to say. Why? Because they're upset. Because they thought, yes, this is what we needed to bring an end to this dragon gas deal once and for all. Because they thought Maduro was going to refuse to meet, that he was going to stick, as they say, stand his ground with respect to claiming this territory. They weren't expecting Maduro to come there to capitulate, if you want to call it that. So they were sorely disappointed. Because they were, as the Doglaya stated, they were hoping for that, the reinstatement or the reimposition of sanctions on Venezuela that would have scuttled the dragon gas deal, because they don't want this dragon gas deal to happen. No way, no day. Because why? It's party before country. And they know that if they come into power, as I said before, and Maduro is still president of Venezuela, dragon gas dead if the PNM is not able to get it off and running before 2025, assuming if they don't come back into power. But as Mother Tunapuna says, they're not coming back. Morning, Mother. She's not coming back. Mother didn't say that, right? But she cannot negotiate. She cannot even play mediator. If she were to become Prime Minister and this matter flares up again, she, who is calling on the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago that our country must take the lead in negotiations and in the lead in being a mediator, she cannot do that because Maduro knows what her position is. She doesn't support him. She was supporting Guaido. She wrote to the National Assembly to tell them do not support any dragon gas deal between Rowley and Maduro since 2016, thereabouts, 2018, right? She issued threats to the man. You touch one, you touch all. Come for Guyana, you come for the rest of us. All of these different things. I am certain Mr. Maduro is well aware and has notes of all of her utterances and the position taken by her and her party with respect to him and his government. He don't want nothing to do with she. No conversation. So she cannot pick up the phone and call Maduro to say, let's have a conversation. Because he knows you are a blasted hypocrite. How can I sit next to you or opposite you and have a conversation when you supported my ouster? When you were supporting Juan Guaido? Publicly. When I have it written down here, things that you have said, it should be threats. What am I supposed to do? Sit down and laugh at you and say, hey, Kamala, you're going here. That cannot happen. And therefore, if the PNM makes headway, and if, God forbid, they lose in 2025 and she comes back, and the Dragon Gas deal falls apart because of her position that she has taken with respect to Maduro, then you know, all them people, men and women of letters who are now quiet and don't want to condemn her and don't want to call her out on her foolishness because we don't want to seem biased. We don't want to seem politically biased, so we're quiet. All of them now will come out the woodworks if that were to happen. Then, when they can fix the problem, before, they will come out the woodworks then, and she will get licks for that. Because they will say, well, look, after the previous administration would have done so much work to get us to this point, on the cusp of this thing becoming a reality, because of irresponsible utterances of the now Prime Minister, then opposition leader, towards Nicolas Maduro and his regime, he doesn't want anything to do with her. And because of that, because she doesn't understand diplomacy, that if you fancy yourself to be the Prime Minister in waiting, or the incoming Prime Minister, you cannot be making such utterances. I have not heard any other opposition leader in the Caribbean make statements similar to Mrs. Posad-Bissessar. None. No other leader in the Caribbean, for that matter, other than Irfaan Ali, and he had to say that because he's the president of Ghana and he has to defend his country. But otherwise, he's justified in saying those things. But not Mrs. Posad-Bissessar. First of all, you're not the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You would like to be, again, but you're not. And you're ably supported by the motley crew, the opposition bench, right? You had plenty to say about Del C. Your leading man in the Senate, Anel Roberts, the Douglaya, always attacking Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president of Venezuela, and Wilma Ruperti, and making all kind of allegations. You feel she could sit down with any member of your government and hold discussions when they are well aware of the nasty things that your right-hand man continues to say? Really? Will he support, if you all were to become governor, will he support any overtures? Will he support Delcy Rodriguez coming here? Will he sit in a room with her and say, well, Delcy, you know, I was one of them calling for sanctions when it is you came here during COVID and they come to talk about Dragon Gas deal. I was one of them who was hoping the US would have put sanctions on your backside. Is he going to say that? They're not thinking. But you know what? That's what the supporters are applauding. Well done, Kamala. Yes, yes. That is the best Prime Minister ever. That's the way. But if it was Dr. Rowley had done that, if the situation was reversed and Dr. Rowley had done that, they would have had the world to see about Dr. Rowley. Plenty. But they need the Dragon Gas deal to die. They need it to die. And every single thing that they thought would have killed it has been countered, has been put to bed. So they vex. They know what else to do. What else to talk about? That's why they're silent up to now. Can't even bring themselves to congratulate CARICOM. CARICOM, her former prime ministerial colleagues, some of them, when she was prime minister. She can't even bring herself to write a statement, even if it's one paragraph, 2 lines, to tell them congratulations on bringing these 2 men together and facilitating an environment that was able to bring about this unexpected outcome so quickly. She's probably home now drinking something, trying to figure out the next move, what we're going to do. Because if that didn't kill the Dragon Gas deal, what else can? But that is your Prime Minister in waiting. And Prime Minister in waiting. Right, and then I see on the other page, I ain't going to read that. Rowley's poor leadership and lack of proactivity. This is an article written by, or an email sent in by one Gary Griffith. We're going to deal with that in another day. I ain't have time for that today. He's another one toting, big time. Front page of today's Express. Christmas gloom. Shoppers tighten their purses amid fears of cost of living rise in 2024. Story by Kim Boodram. I don't know which Trinidad Kim Boodram living in. Clearly, it's not the same one that I am living in. Bare necessities. Bleak Christmas for businesses and buyers. It is looking more and more like a bleak Christmas for both businesses and buyers. With just days to go before Christmas, shopping in the country's main commercial centers has been slow, with people seeking the bare necessities and holding back for an expected rise in the cost of living in 2024, several business groups have said. Duma, spend cautiously. Duma encouraged consumers to spend cautiously, with Abood agreeing that anticipated increases in the cost of living were affecting spending patterns this year. Really? St. Mary's College, CIC All-Inclusive Fete. The best all-inclusive fete there is, clearly, because patrons are limited to only 2 tickets per person. And one day, last week Tuesday, ticket sales opened for members of the public. Tickets are going general, $1,500 for one, VIP, $2,000 for one. In one day, in about 4 hours, all tickets sell out. Long lines. Somebody sent me a picture of long lines in CIC. People line up since 4 o'clock, Tuesday morning. Since 4 o'clock, they sit down in the car waiting for the gate to open at 8 so they could get their 2 tickets. Well, I suppose some people would have arranged, here, bring this family member. Well, here, I need 10 tickets, so I need to get 4 other people to come with me. It's 2 apiece. Right? Tickets sold out in 4 hours. 4 hours, $1,500 general and $2,000 VIP. If they have any more tickets left, that is or has already been allocated and set aside, is just for the persons to come and collect. Right? Because I went there to the Alumni Foundation office a couple of days ago, and I was speaking to one of the ladies, and she said, yeah, everything's sold out. They catered for about 4,500 people. Bare necessities, bleak Christmas. Really? And that is just one of several fetes. One of several fetes. We're concerned about property tax. I can't pay $981 for the year in property tax. I can't pay afford to pay $81 a month in property tax. But I could find $1,500 and $2,000 just so buy 2 to buy tickets to go to a fete for about 6 hours. I'm prepared to spend $1,500 or $2,000, and you're probably not even going to fete for about 6 hours, because we know how Trinidadians operate. Some people will reach for 6 when the fete starts, but others will bounce in around 8 o'clock. So I'm spending $1,500 or $2,000 to fete for 4 hours, right, to eat and drink to my heart's content. And I had to find that $1,500 because you can't pay monthly for these tickets. But you have this article, this headline article, Christmas Gloom. I was looking at a live on Facebook yesterday. I wasn't even aware that Jimmy Abood opened some mega store somewhere in the Barataria, around West area there, right? So somebody who was doing a live was in there buying stuff. I'm saying, but where this is, this massive facility with underground parking and all kind of thing, massive warehouse, where that come from? Where that come from? But I thought the economy on the brink. I thought the economy is suffering. I thought it is the economy is in free fall and the PNM destroyed the economy. But yet still, Pennywise just opened a massive, expanded, opened I think it's a 13,000 square foot new location in Arima, where American stores used to be, because they outgrew the old space that they had. We see Extra Foods that just opened this massive new grocery in around West End, the development that is taking place in that general area, right? I went to Eastgate Mall a couple days ago, had to struggle to find parking. The mall car park ram out. I'm going inside the mall and people shopping. All them stores, and now if you see people walking around with bags and so on, the food court. Most of the places in the food court, this newest mall there, people buying food, People spending the money. Most of the cars when you're looking at the road now is PED. There seems to be a love for the Vezel, the Honda Vezel. Everywhere you turn, you're seeing that. And look at the license plate, PED, PEE, PEF. PEF almost finished. But we suffering. We have no money. What we go do? The cost of living going up. I don't know where Kim Boudram living. I don't know what Trinidad she reporting on. But I can tell you, based on what I am seeing outside, and it's not window shopping that I am seeing, right? All of those public servants who calling for their back pay, who ain't get it yet. Who get it, don't start to spend. And who ain't get it yet, they want it to go and buy the ham and the turkey and whatnot. And it Carnival being a short season, they're working out to see which fets they go into, what outfit they had to buy, because as soon as Christmas done, straight into Carnival and fets. I think Tribe, normally the first fet would be Soca in Mocha, I think on the 1st of January. But I think Tribe having a fet December the 26th or the 27th or something. So, and Tribe have the crowd. So that I wouldn't be surprised if them tickets sell out. And if they sell out yet, almost to sell out, right? You have a number of fets. They're just waiting. 12:01 on Boxing morning, Christmas done. Straight into Carnival. Bands sell out already. Long time. You feel you go and get a costume now in Tribe? You don't hope that somebody decide who bought a costume already change their mind. Otherwise, so that you can't get through. You can't get through. A lot of these bands will tell you if they sell out yet, almost sell out. People who just waiting for the Christmas bonus and whatnot, and that going into that. Fets galore. But we have money. We suffering. Things hard. Shoppers tighten their purses amid fears of cost of living rise in 2020. What cost of living rise they look into? What's the cost of living rise? What, the increase in electricity rates? The property tax? That some people have been posting things in the newspaper showing where they got their notice and they would be paying $40-something a month, some people, $50-something a month. What's the average price of an all-inclusive fet? What's the average price, the cooler fet? Monday coming here tomorrow, I think is Parang and Paramin. They had the first installation on Friday, and Paramin was looking like downtown Port of Spain on Carnival Tuesday. Massive crowd up on the hill. But tomorrow night they're going back up. I think tickets are $150. I think Friday was free. A friend of mine was telling me yesterday, the traffic to go up in Paramin was, and this is after 11 minutes to 12. They're now looking to head up. Traffic so terrible. They had to park their vehicle down the hill and walk up for over half an hour to the venue. And for those of you who've been up in Paramin, you know, right? There's pressure to walk up, to drive up if you don't know that drive. They went up with a 4x4 and didn't know how to take the corner. So pressure. Yeah? Tomorrow night going to probably just be the same. Crowd again. But we ain't have money. We're suffering. Right? But all these companies opening new branches, massive warehouses. I keep telling you all that Nasalura Maya Road from the Ministry of Agriculture going down to Price Plaza in Shogunas, the massive development that is taking place there. They just have about one other lot of land that is still unoccupied, and it's only a matter of time before they put up something there. But we're suffering. The other night, the mayor of Shogunas complaining. He's been asking for a meeting with the Minister of Works and Transport because the traffic situation in Shogunas is becoming unbearable. Why? Because of the amount of businesses, new businesses that are opening up in Shogunas. He says so. Faiq Mohammed, the mayor of Shogunas, is complaining with the level of activity, business activity taking place in his constituency, Shogunas. New businesses coming every day and opening up. Not just that stretch that I tell you about, but in Shogunas proper. So you have plenty of people coming into Shogunas to do what? To stand up and watch how they building buildings? That's what they're going to Shogunas to do? To inhale cement? Or they're going to shop? They're going to shop, and he's complaining the traffic situation is getting worse and he needs to meet with the minister so they could hammer out some sort of new traffic regulation or something to treat with the volume of traffic that coming into Shogunas, the amount of people coming into Shogunas to spend money. Because more and more businesses coming into Shogunas. But the same party, of which he is a member, coming to tell you every day, the economy is on the brink of collapse. Well, apparently all these businessmen who looking to open businesses in Chaguanas didn't get a memo that the economy is on the brink of collapse and you don't invest money in an economy that is about to collapse. They didn't get a memo. So he's saying one thing and the leadership of his party is saying something else to the same audience. Who to believe? But the people who in Chaguanas, who living in Chaguanas and seeing the development taking place, still come to tell you nonsense about this is the worst the economy has ever been. But yet still, banks, investment houses, the private sector, all these conglomerates and so on, all of them declaring record profits. Profits the likes of which we never saw between 2010 to 2015. They've been recording year after year after year, only increase after increase after increase. In an economy that they're telling you is on the brink of collapse. Well, if an economy that is on the brink of collapse is seeing that type of activity, well, I tell you, I would love to see what an economy that is booming looks like. Because apparently the economy was booming under them between 2010 to 2015, but we weren't seeing the type of performances that we're seeing today happening under them. They talk about Forex. Businesses turn to black market for Forex, page 7 of today's Guardian. Just 1 week before Christmas, the country's business community is battling with the lowest supply of foreign exchange in years, which they claim has been hampering their operations and ability to survive. This week, in interviews with the Sunday Guardian, heads of the country's different chambers admitted that their members buy Forex in the black market to keep their businesses operational because the banks are inconsistent in allocation. As a result, the country's small and medium businesses are struggling to survive or even make profits. I want to ask a question. Where the black market getting the Forex from? They printing it? They importing it? Where they getting it from? Where is the black market getting the foreign exchange to give it to the businesses to be able to run the operations? Because the last I checked, we don't print US dollars in Trinidad. Right? And I don't know that you could just go to the US and say, well, I want to ship 10 million US or 100 million US in cash to Trinidad. So where is the black market getting the money from, the Forex, to sell it to these people? Nobody is answering that question, right? Because clearly, they're telling me that the banks are giving you the US, but certain people getting it. When they get it, what are they doing with it? Because let us face it, there are people in this country who are hoarding US dollars, who are hoping and praying that by creating this shortage, by hoarding US, the government will be forced to devalue the TT dollar to an unacceptable level, to the point where they can now come and flood the market with the US dollars and profit and make a ton of money. And they have a party that fancies itself to be the government in waiting that has stipulated in black and white in its manifesto that if you put them back in office come 2025, they've been promising this since 2020, put them back in office in 2025 and they will facilitate that. They will abandon the policies of the current administration of using the country's foreign reserves to prop up the exchange rate, using the country's foreign reserves to provide supply of foreign exchange so that the price wouldn't go beyond a certain level. They are telling you that is not good business. We're not about our life. We're about building the country's foreign reserves, stockpiling it, so we can beat our chest and say that the PNM decimated the country's foreign reserves, but under us, it has gone back up to 10, 11, 12, 20, 24 months of import cover. And it just sit down in the central bank there, looking nice and collecting dust. Meanwhile, the business community needs the money to be able to conduct the business. But we couldn't care less about that. Let the market forces of demand and supply determine the exchange rate, and who get and who ain't get, hard luck. Only the strongest will survive. It is on their manifesto, but the supporters, even when you tell them about it, they come with some cock and bull story and telling you, well, that is the only thing you want to focus on. Well, when your party only talking about that and talking about that and talking about that, and I am telling you, this is what they propose to do to treat with it, which is going to see a significant rise in the cost of living. All you're concerned about cost of living going to go up because a rise in the cost of electricity and an increase and property tax coming on board. But your party that you support, that you want to come back into office, is telling you, put us back in office and we will allow the exchange rate to slide to probably 9, 10, 11, and who knows when it will stop. Who knows when it will stop? And they're telling you that. And we importing everything because the businesses complaining they getting foreign exchange. What does that tell you? What they need the foreign exchange to do? To import stuff, to buy things, to bring into the country. And therefore, if it is the exchange rate goes up to 11, 12, and whatever price it could reach, based on what they are telling you, right? You don't expect the cost of living to go up. When it is that the businessmen importing these same things, all who manufacturing food stuff here, like Matux and Associated Brands and National Canners and all of these people, when it is they are importing a lot of their raw materials for the end product, you don't think that the cost of living going to go up because they're going to increase the price of this stuff? All of them who importing food stuff like ADM and or the Rainbow brand and of Rainbow corned beef and all these different things, Massey and all of them who importing stuff, all of you all who like to drink Perrier and Zephyr Hills, as if we don't have Blue Waters and stuff here. No, you all prefer to pay $15 and $16 for a bottle of water so it could tickle your throat, right? Well, I don't even know what's the price because I do buy those things. I just find this ridiculous. And this is something the Prime Minister pointed out at some time ago. We're spending precious foreign exchange to import water. Water. We have plenty of water here, right? So you don't think the cost of living going to go up? No, but the supporters ain't calling them out on that. No. We just want them back in power. And then once they get back into power, and we see the things that we should have seen before, that we heard about, but we didn't pay any attention because we just wanted the bald-head man to go. And we want Kamala to be there. And when she come back in power now, we could cuss she all we want, but at least we're happy that she's the Prime Minister and bald-head man gone. And then what? When it is the same bald-head man and the square peg in the wrong hole, the architect who's the Minister of Finance is trying to keep the cost of living down, at least on imported goods, by maintaining that this is a policy decision. In fact, just last week, I had a meeting with one of my clients who is a big businessman in Trinidad. And he was asking my opinion with respect to what I think is going to happen with the exchange rate, because he's about to do some significant piece of business that involves a lot of foreign currency, US, and he's a bit timid because he's concerned what could happen with fluctuations in the exchange rate. And I told him it was government policy. Even before this government came in, they made it known that they would be prepared to allow the exchange rate to slide to about 679, 680. And then they would intervene with the country's foreign reserves to maintain the rate at about that. And they have been able to do so for the last 8 years. And I don't think at this late juncture, they're going to change that policy. It has worked. It has achieved what they wanted it to achieve over the last 8 years. And at least you're safe until 2025. I can't tell you what's going to happen after that. Because if the citizens of this country decide to play fast and loose with their vote and put those people back, well, then it's a horse of a different color, right? And I don't know who they're going to bring as Minister of Finance. I see that the tenure of Mr. Alvin Hilaire as central bank governor, he has been given another term. But as we saw with Jawala Rambaran, that there is no guarantee. So I wouldn't put it past the UNC if they were to come back into office to get rid of Mr. Hilaire and reinstall Jawala Rambaran as central bank governor so that he could do what it is he did with the foreign exchange matter prior to his tenure coming to an abrupt end, right? And he continues to play a role in that party, and they have every confidence in him. And given that that is a party that lacks persons with legitimate qualifications, hence the false papers crew that we saw between 2010 to 2015, the few members they have who actually have credentials, whether it is that those credentials were purchased from some fly-by-night university, so they could call themselves Dr. this and Dr. that, but don't know the B from Bulford, don't know the ARSE from the elbow in the subject matter. But they hold in certificates, saying they had doctorate and MBA and all of these different things, calling themselves doctors. They can't do the work. Right? So don't put it past them. The few that they have who have legitimate credentials, those are the first persons that they're going to rely on to put them in positions of prominence because they figure, well, the public know them. And they know that these people legit. But when that pool or that pot of legitimate certificate holders dries up very quickly, what are they going to do? Calling out the false papers crew, your services are needed once again. So come with your false certificates, come with your false degree, present yourself because The rules, the law says that we need to have a qualified accountant sitting on this board, and we have none among our ranks, so we need the false papers crew to come forward. We have jobs for the boys. And since we were criticizing the PNM about having persons serving on 2 and 3 boards, and we don't want to repeat that, we will put persons who don't know what the hell they're about to sit down on these boards, right? I might have 1 or 2 legitimate persons, and hopefully they will be able to guide the rest of all. But we just need a board in name only. Pretense. You don't need to know anything. Just show up for 1 board meeting for the month, and you collect your whatever is your director's fee or whatever the case is. You don't need to say anything. Just sit down in the meeting and look pretty and smile and shake your head. And when there's a call for somebody to move a motion, you can say, I move, I so move, I second. That's all you need to do. And at the end of the month, you collect your board fee and you go your way. And hopefully the 2 competent people on the board will make sure that everything else runs smoothly. And we will leave it up to the executive management of these institutions to run everything. Right? That is what they offering you. I noticed an article, I don't have that paper with me, where they said cruise ship arrivals has increased by 81% over last year. 81%. And we're not even at the peak of the cruise ship season yet, right? I saw one of the largest cruise ships I've ever seen. I think that was the largest, the MSC something that came in a couple of days ago. Over 4,000 passengers, 2,000 crew came in. And we don't have the problem that they have in Tobago under the transformational leadership of Ali Augustine, where our maxis were waiting to take persons to where whatever tours they would have booked and so on. And what I noticed, again, was that one of the places that they take the tourists is around the savannah, right? One of the first stops is at the Magnificent Seven, so that they could look at those beautiful buildings that form part of Trinidad and Tobago's heritage, from Queen's Royal College all the way up to Stallmeyer's Castle, and then just around the savannah, the President's House. That's one of the first stops that they make. Well, second stop, because they would normally stop as well in front of the Red House, which was restored by the People's National Movement under the leadership of Key Christopher Rowley. Right? Red House, Magnificent Seven, President's House. We will recall that between 2010 to 2015, that Mille Fleurs was left to rot. It was in a state of total disrepair when this administration came in 2015. So much so that the recommendation was to demolish the building in its entirety and try and rebuild a replica. And had it not been for Citizens for Conservation coming forward and telling the government, look, there may be experts in Cuba who would be able to save the building. So let's just bring them and have them take a look. And if they tell us, and they could tell you what is what. They brought in the experts, they came in and they said, yes, we could fix the building, we could salvage it. The government said, right, we go in with that. And this is as soon as they came into office. Today, Mille Fleurs stands proudly. It is one of the most sought after venues for corporate events, for weddings, for a venue to take pictures for after your wedding, to take engagement photo shoots. It has been used in several ads, music videos, and all of these things are paid for. Paid for. People are coming, they're renting the building, renting the space, and they're paying the money. Mille Fleurs, which for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days under the People's Partnership, was not earning a cent. It was just sitting there as food for termites, on the cusp of being demolished. And it took this administration coming in, taking the good sense and saying, let us invest the taxpayers' money to restore our heritage building. And they did that, and today we see that it was a very good decision. Likewise, last night I was going around the savannah, and because I was attending a party in Fonzamans, and as I was going around the savannah, I saw there was an event taking place at Stallmeyer's Castle, again restored by the People's National Movement. All of these things bring money into the coffers of the state. But had it been under them between 2010 to 2015, when the tourists came, the Red House was in a mess. You all would recall the southern wing, where the Senate chamber is, was looking horrible, with pigeon droppings. It was terrible. After they spent so much money and and all of that. So that no stops was being made there. And then when you take them up to the savannah, so you had to say, well, we will just stop briefly by Queen's Park, or we will just drive past. We ain't stopping. Generally, are nothing much to see because we don't want them to see the condition, Millflow looking and boarded up and all of that. And then Whitehall, all of the Magnificent Seven was anything but magnificent when they were in office. And then President's House, we know what happened there. All they did was to put up a canopy over the portion that collapsed. And for a couple of years into their tenure, whenever it is that foreign dignitaries, ambassadors, and so on came to present their credentials to the president, it had to be done at Knowsley, which is on the other side of the savannah, Knowsley building, which they eventually turned into the operations center for the NOC, for the national operations and whatever it is, right? So it was no longer available for use. So that when persons were coming to present credentials, foreigners to present credentials, diplomats, to the president, you had to drive past this unsightly building. Testimony to how Trinidad and Tobago's government treated its heritage building. All this rubble. This building that Jack Warner had promised then President Max Richards that before his term of office ended, he would move back into President's House. Nothing of this would happen. It took this administration to come in and take taxpayers' money and fix all of those buildings at a budget far less than what the People's Partnership said it would cost. Today, we have something for the tourists to see when they come. But the same party that are talking about tourism and we need to diversify the economy. What did they do to diversify the economy? Well, last I checked, I don't think when the cruise ship comes, they have any maxis taking them around to see the 106 schools that they say they built. I don't think you have any maxi tours taking them to see the Cuba Children's Hospital. I don't think you have any maxi tours taking you to see the National Aquatic Center or the cycling velodrome. I don't think you have any maxi tours taking you to see the licensing office in Caroni, or any maxi tours taking you to see the $789 million in missing houses, even though that would be a tourist attraction, something to see. We take you to this big lot and say, well, look, do you all see these wonderful houses that cost $789 million? What? They're invisible? Yes, well, that is what makes it so special. They are invisible. They are not able to be seen with the naked eye. But maybe if you squint, you might be able to see the silhouette of a roof. Yeah, that would definitely be a tourist attraction. But the supporters aren't talking about that. Nah, there's a fellow from Ghana, I think is his name, but I play the thing, Wodemaya or something. One of the first videos I saw he made when he came here last week or so was at the waterfront. He's amazed at how developed Trinidad and Tobago is. He couldn't believe that at this side of the world that we were so developed. And he marveled at these big buildings that the PNM built. Not the UNC, according to Rudal Munilal a couple of weeks ago, that is the UNC that built Trinidad and Tobago. This delusional twat, right? I didn't see Wodemaya go to any building that the UNC built and say, oh, look at this wonderful building. Look at that. He highlighted the waterfront, which the PNM built. He highlighted the walkover on Rising Road with the elevators, again, which the PNM built. But the UNC had an issue with how long that was taken to complete, how much money was being spent and all of that. All of these things, right? UNC didn't build that. PNM did that. The same people who want to be lambasting the PNM now have nothing good to say. All they could talk about is corruption, and the PNM do this and the PNM do that. But the positive things, they ain't going to talk about. So I see this guy going all over Trinidad and Tobago. And he's spending quite a few days in Tobago and marveling at how beautiful Tobago is. Last I checked, that Fali has only been chief secretary for 2 years. And much of what this young man has been highlighting and marveling didn't come about under the TPP. It didn't come about under the PDP. It didn't come about under Fali and Tashia and Faith and these people. These are things that happened while the PNM was there. So when I listened to Bernie, Jack, Greg talking nonsense, I don't know what hole she crawled out of, right? Apparently she was under a rock for a while and she has decided to resurface because she realized, hey, it seems like Rowley and the PNM making some headway. So she had an issue with the Prime Minister, some meeting he had a couple of weeks ago in Tobago, right? So she had to, every time the Prime Minister does a press conference, she always had to give a running commentary after. and talking nonsense, because she's another Kamala disciple, about, you didn't hear Mbot say in the budget debate that he owing the THA money since 2014. I say, Mr. Mbot owing the THA money since 2014, but Mr. Mbot wasn't the Minister of Finance in 2014. Larry Hawaii was the Minister of Finance in 2014. Mr. Mbot only became Minister of Finance in September 2015. So I don't know what rubbish Bernie Jack Gregg talking about. But she come out of the hole, or under whichever rock she has been in for the last couple of weeks or months, to talk about, oh, Rowley and PNM never coming back. In Tobago, come back, wait, never. And you see this 2 foot I have here, and I will walk and walk and do what? Just a few months ago, you were complaining about, oh, they promised your son at work, and your son have all his passes, and he went and do a course in photography, and they keep promising him that they will give him work in this division and that division, and nothing, and they gave him no work. And the same mouth that you used to get him in office is the same mouth you're going to use to get him out of office. But like your son probably get work. I don't know what it is they give you, so all of a sudden you change your tune again. I just ask him, Bernie. I know I saw her name pop up here, something she commented on one of the previous lives that I would have done. So I don't know if it is, maybe this might pop up on her timeline and she might decide to give a comment. But I didn't listen to the whole thing because it was just drivel, right? I said I will talk and misinformation. She's just as bad as Captain Clueless and Professor Know Nothing on that radio station. Just like the two of them. She's the Tobago version. Every time she does a live. You must have strong concentration and patience to listen to that trash. But these are the people who talking for the alternative to the PNM. We say morning to JB Harper of the TPP. JB said he voted for me in the PNM's internal election last year. So for him to have voted, he had to be a member of the PNM, JB. So I don't know how you switch your allegiances so quickly in the space of, well, anyway. Let me see what's the time there. Yeah, I'm trying to preserve my voice before that cough comes back, right? Right, somebody said Food Basket opened a double-decker supermarket with an escalator in Point Fortin in August in time for the highway opening. Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, in Point Fortin, Food Basket. Massive facility down in Point Fortin. And when Pennywise, the story was carried that Pennywise opened this new store in Arima. And you read the comments on social media. We want a Pennywise in Sangre Grande. We want one in Point Fortin. When all they come in Tobago, but we ain't have money. We don't have money. We broken to thief. We don't have money to spend for Christmas, but you want Pennywise to come in Granby and Point Fortin and Tobago and wherever else you don't have one. But talking about Rowley want to make the rich richer, yeah? Because it's Dr. Rowley tell the Polari family to go and open Pennywise Plaza on Nassau Ramaya Road, and he tell them, hey, you see that store you have in Arima, it's too small. You all need to go and buy out the building that American Stores is in and open a much bigger facility. Dr. Rowley tell them to do that so they could get richer. Yeah, Dr. Rowley did that. There's always Rowley want to make the rich richer. Really? It's Dr. Rowley that tell Mute and them to open a new super farm in St. Augustine and another Starbucks in St. Augustine. It's Dr. Rowley that told Sabgabur to open a new branch of churches right next to KFC in Extra Food Plaza on Nassau Ramaya Road. Yeah, Dr. Rowley told them to do that. It's not because they're making money in all the other outlets. No. When you go to Eastgate Mall, see how many new branches of a number of different businesses have opened up in Eastgate Mall, the newest mall in Trinidad and Tobago, right? So when people moving out of Trin City to go across the Eastgate looking like Sawgrass Mall, but on a smaller scale. But it's not. It looks like one of the malls that you would see in the US, right? That's what you're seeing. New businesses opening up. But I want to tell you the economy is suffering and the economy on the brink, and they continue to peddle that foolishness. But ask them, what do they have to offer to fix the economy? They can't tell you. So when I listened to Kamala Persad-Bissessar criticizing Dr. Rowley about the agreement that he and Stuart Young just signed with Atlantic LNG, and the Prime Minister couldn't answer this and he couldn't answer that. This from the woman who didn't even know what Trinidad and Tobago shareholding in Train 1 was when she was prime minister. She was supposed to be the head of the energy subcommittee of cabinet. Ask her how many meetings she attended. How many meetings did she attend as prime minister? Didn't know nothing going on in the energy sector, right? But she wanted to come and talk about, criticize Dr. Rowley. He has done far more in the 8 years that he has been prime minister. When it is that in early days, he went to the UK and was able to get these energy companies to give us back money. Billions of dollars that we lost out on because of the sweetheart concessions that her administration gave to them. But that is how we're supposed to run the energy sector. She and Kevin, they had the solution. 8 companies lost over $10 billion. Over $10 billion over a 4-year period. Right? But she and Kevin have the solution to fix the energy sector. All they could do is to criticize Dr. Rowley and criticize. That's all they could do, but could offer no cogent solutions. Let me treat with the bamboo situation. The man from Bamboo. Who is that knocking my door? Let me get this here. Right? The Bamboo man. Yes. Right. So let me get him in. So after all the gun talk, I dare you to come and demolish, if only touch one brick on this security booth, taking them to court. Well, they demolish the whole damn thing. And they take it too. So all the money that he pelt out to construct this guard booth, they come, and not only did they demolish it, they went with all the material. So you couldn't even say, well, hey, that's mine and all here. Well, you're going, that's mine. Really? We warned you. We warned you once, we warned you twice, we warned you 3 times. But just like your partner, your political leader, is your mouth that gets you in trouble. Because you big and you bad. And you want to come and tell them, I did all in. And all over the place, any media house that would give him a listening ear talking about discrimination and his racial discrimination. He must accuse every and anybody of racial discrimination. But when similar claims are made against him, he ready to call Richard Jagasan to go and file motion in the courthouse to sue people, to send out pre-action protocol letter to sue. But accusing the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation of racial discrimination, talking about the animal farm politics, and it's the PNM and the PNM. Get this here. He says to some PNM celebrating the demolition of the guard booth, just remember our evaporated milk expiring next year, wherever the hell that means. When you have a government that is funded, protected, and supported by criminals, this is the priority. A clear case of nasty, stinking, dirty discrimination by the animal farm, PNM. In the video that he did on the morning that the guard booth was demolished, I don't know how many of you all saw it. Let me see how long it is. 26 minutes. I can't play that. But he kept asking people, because the villagers started to come out one by one and talking, Inshan. This woman coming, Inshan, you in? What is she asking, boy? Something, I can't remember what it is, but the gist of what it was is that she was asking him some business that was put up by some, and here, a Creole Guyanese. Yeah, it's a Creole Guyanese who own it. And he put up his thing, and they do him nothing. We know it's not Creole she wanted to say. You know what she wanted to say, but anyway. But there's a Creole Guyanese who put it up, and he encouraging that talk. But he asking the people, will they ever see them demolish a structure so fast? This wasn't 2 days, this wasn't 3 days, this is over a period of weeks. Where you continue to goad the corporation, dare them to come and tear it down. So they call you bluff. Because all the mouth you have, I dare all you to come and do this, and can't do all you gonna talk. Oh, and we putting up the roof today, And then the barriers, they're telling the media the barriers will be going up by next week and so on. And defiance, willful defiance of the law. Because the corporation can only operate based on the law. And they sent you show cause notices. They tell you, send you a notice telling you you need to cease and desist, but you persisted. And I give them full kudos. Wait until you're erected fully and you finish and you spend all your money and then tear it down. Tear it down. Watch your money go up in dust. And there was absolutely nothing that you could do. And if I was the corporation, I'd send you a bill to charge you for the cost incurred in having to clear the rubble. For your foolishness. Because you big and you bad. And you don't have to abide by law. Why? Because you went by Mount Hope and you see there are structures outside of Mount Hope that are not obstructing the free passage or the free flow of traffic. But these are people who are simply trying to make ends meet, to earn a living, to pay their bills, and to be able to put food on the table. The same people who you're always advocating for, right? The same people who you love to give hampers to so you could take census to see how many of them are Africans and you could come and talk about it later on. But you're going showing video. Look, let's see outside here and look at the animal farm politics at the PNM. Why then these structures have been there all the time? You had no issue with it. I am sure you probably went to the hospital how much times? Passed by there and saw these structures there. You had no issue. You never went to put up no video to talk about it and talk about why the corporation is tearing it down. Because at that time, you had no problem with these people trying to earn an honest living. But perhaps you prefer that the corporation go and tear down the structures and then they could come in bamboo and rob all it. Because if they cannot make a living by true legitimate means, they're not obstructing anybody. They're in fact providing a useful service when people go to the hospital to visit their loved ones. For whatever reason, and they're running late, and they're not able to stop in a grocery to pick up something or stop in the bakery to pick up something to carry for their loved one to eat. And you have these places outside there that's selling things. They could stop right there and buy 2 cheese pies or 2 currants rolls or a beef pie, as I used to do when my brother was in Mount Hope. And on the way there, he would say, oh, when you come here, you can just stop right outside and you bring 2 cheese pies for me or something like that. Right? It's convenient. They're providing a service that is helping people. And just to promote your foolish cause, you find that the corporation should come and tear it down to satisfy you so that they can prove to you that they're not being politically biased. So we're trying to tell me that everybody who have a business on that stretch supporting the PNM, you don't know any UNC person selling there, right? No, because the UNC people, they are above the law. That they do things as it's supposed to be done. It's only everybody there because they satisfy a particular criteria that a lot of them on that side identify as being the main characteristic to discern who is PNM and who is UNC. Because the majority of them fit that ethnic criteria, all of them must be PNM. So you could come and lick down all because we ain't care. That's PNM. And then another man, when he post up the video now, while he recording, a man come in and say, so when they finish knock down the guard, they go and beat them next. They go and beat them next. Go and beat them next to do what? They don't have any guard boots and beat them that obstructing the free flow of traffic? Anybody trying to restrict persons from coming in or leaving beat them? You see how they're nasty and dirty? Quick to talk about what the PNM doesn't do nothing for black people. And they're doing nothing, and their constituencies is the worst, and the most amount of crime, and the most amount of poverty is in PNM constituencies. But when the people in PNM constituencies doing something constructive, so that they could earn a living, so that all they couldn't, to deny you all the opportunity to wash your mouth and say, nothing good don't come out from there. Well, you have a problem with that. But go around in the back in Sealots and see the type of massive buildings that you have there and thriving businesses in the back that you don't see from the highway. But as I said, the people who like to talk the most about Beetham and Laventille couldn't find Beetham and Laventille with Waze or Google Maps. But they have the worst to say about Beetham. I asked them if they ever went there. Never went there. Don't have a clue other than what they see when they're going over the NP flyover. That is all they know about Laventille. And when they pass in by the lighthouse, that is what they know about Sealots. The sum total of what they know, but have plenty to say. But I'm sure it have plenty places in Saparia and Oropouche and Faizabad and Penal and all of these constituencies that are controlled by the UNC that have that just as bad. But we don't hear about them. We don't hear about them because only in Laventille people still using latrine. That don't happen in Oropouche. That ain't happening in Saparia. No, everybody living good in these constituencies. No poverty in any of these constituencies, right? PNM are doing nothing. PNM are doing nothing. For 8 years, what they do? Ask it this. They always come up with this nonsense. Tell me 5 things the PNM do since they come into power. We could give you over 500 things that they have done since they came into power. Right? Just 2 days ago, they opened a new swimming pool in Davide O'Meara, in Malabar. Swimming pool in Maloney. Swimming pool in, I think, Sugrim Trace in Laventille, in Mova. The Prime Minister indicated that there are more to come. I think there's in Laoketa, they're supposed to be doing some refurbishment of some other pools in Saparia and other places. Community pools that offering services with the assistance of the Coast Guard and the Defense Force, teaching people to swim and all these different things for the elderly to be able to come and engage in calisthenics and all these different things. So these are facilities that were not available before. When they had the highest energy revenues between 2010 and 2015, they wasn't doing them thing. All the talk they like to talk about Laventille. What did they do for Laventille and Mova when they were there? What they built in Mova? What they built in Laventille? What did they build? Anything of substance? Anything to help the community come out of poverty? Anything to treat with the level of crime that they bemoaning today? What did they do? What lasting legacy did Kamala Persad-Bissessar leave in Laventille other than maybe Kingsley House? What else did she leave in Laventille and Mova? Nothing. Even Garth Christopher now wanted to turn his back on them. Garth Christopher was the strongest advocate for Kamala Persad-Bissessar. But he was the one where we know what they gave him. They gave him the old health center in I think Coconut Drive or somewhere there that he was using supposedly for a homework center and among other things. And he wanted to start some recording studio or so on. And he said that when this administration came in, Mr. Hines took it away from him. Well, if Mr. Hines took it away from you, you look for that. Again, is all your mouth just get all in trouble. You had the worst of things to say about Mr. Hines, calling him Fitzgerald Swines and all kind of foolishness. And you expect him to come and hug you up and embrace you and say, my brother, really, Garth? You look for that. You look for that. It's your mouth that deprived the community of something. Well, I don't understand that. Just like Inshan Ishmael. So, he was interviewed on I-95 a couple of days ago and talking about the booth was built with the contributions of the community and the village. And the whole village came together. And shortly thereafter, the village put out a whole letter distancing themselves from him. Saying that the booth was Ishmael, we don't know about that. So when it is he was doing his live and telling only 99% of the village supporting it and 99%, and then come and say 100% supporting it. But the same village council put out a letter distancing themselves from him and saying, we don't know about that. We support the rule of law and we support getting the necessary approvals. So if it is that a guard booth has to come up, great, but we are about ensuring that it comes up based on the rules and regulations as stipulated in the law and based on what permissions from the corporation. We're not about this lawless one-manship thing that Ishmael are about. So let me read this for you. Shameless lout. This one. Let me get this here. And as is always the case with him, he loves to insult people. So he's quoting here from a newspaper article that was quoting some of the villagers who were interviewed. And I'm quoting what the article said, right? But one resident said he was happy the booth was demolished, but would be in support of a booth if the government were to put one. Another resident said he did not believe the guard booth would have made a difference if it remained up. And another one said it would have kept back the evolution and progress of business. This is what Ishmael had to say. So he posted up that. Let's face facts. In every village, you will have those who understand progress, and then there will be those who are dunce beyond words. They do not attend meetings. They do nothing for the village and are just concerned with what time the bar opens and closes. Below are just 3 examples from the Express article today. Illiterate and just plain dotish. So it's just convenient that the Express happened to find 3 people who, according to him, do attend meetings. 3 people who do nothing for the village, and 3 people who just wait, or their only concern is what time the bar opens and closes. So they are not allowed to have an opinion that is divergent to his. And if you do have an opinion that is divergent to his, he labels you illiterate and just plain dutish. But he looking like a clown now because they distance themselves from you. They run from you. They drop you like a hot potato. And they say, that is cheating. We don't know about that. But I hear him telling Tony the other day, he has 10 pallets of blocks and he has cement and he has roofing sheets and all of that waiting so that if need be for the guard booth to go back up. He has those things, not the village. He has those things. Who was going to pay the security to man this facility? Who was going to do that? The same business owners who complaining that the economy in a mess and they have no money. We can't afford property tax, but you can afford to pelt out money to pay security guard 24/7. I thought all you're suffering. And then want to compare and talk about the guard booth in Valsayn North and Valsayn South and so on, which is not concrete structures. These are prefab huts, probably made out of fiberglass or whatever it is. And if you need to move it, you just come, you bring a truck, and you just lift it up and put it in the truck and go with it. No need, and there were never any barriers erected. I think it's only recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I saw some letter come out where the corporation has given permission to the residents of, I think, Valsayn South, or Valsayn, I don't know which, I can't remember which one. So, to put up the barriers now. The booth is there, but now they can put the barriers and have the security man the facility. But all these gated communities that wanted security, and so you hear them complaining about home invasions within recent times? Where I went last night was in a gated community. When I reached, the gate was wide open. In fact, in driving in, I saw the private gates of the several residences within this community wide open. There seemed to be no concern about home invasions and stuff. And how come you hear them complaining about the murder rate? They're only talking about dragon gas, but how come we ain't complaining about murder rate anymore? You know why? Because if you want to complain about murder rate, then it means you have to disclose what is the current number of murders for the year. Now, granted, it's at an unacceptable level, but it is below where it was same time last year. So when Rodney Charles earlier on this year made the pronouncement that Trinidad and Tobago was on track to record over 700 murders for 2023, what they were hoping for, and it seems that it is going to come in below 600 murders this year, much to their chagrin and much to their disappointment, because they were hoping for another year of record murders so that they could nail that to the PNM's chest and say, look, you see, every year is another record. Imagine that the government in waiting, as they call themselves, the alternative government, wishes to see record numbers of citizens murdered for political benefit. So you predicting and prophesying over 700 murders for 2023. And this is about 4 or 5 months ago, right? They were hoping for that. Tell you when they get up in the morning and the last thing they say in their prayers before they say amen. And Lord, please don't forget, we need 2 or 3 double murders or a couple triple murders today, please. And if you want to give us a record, if we could get maybe 4 quadruple murders. Give it 10 in 2 days now. Please, we're behind quota. We need to break the record. Please, please, please. We'd be very happy if you would oblige us. So they're very disappointed now. What they were talking about? They were hoping it would cross 600. Today is what? The 17th? But 2 weeks ago, ain't no way in hell they get 700 that they were hoping for. That ain't happening. Unless, of course, they decide to go and pay people to just randomly go and shoot people. They're not getting the 700. They may not even get the 600. So it looks as if we may see at least a 10% to 12% reduction in the amount of murders this year over last year. I want to hear what Gary has to say. Right? Gary the Great. Because just a few months ago, he was praising the Jamaican government and the Jamaican police force for a 12% reduction in murder in Jamaica. So if you could praise them for a 12% reduction, if we get a 12% reduction in Trinidad and you say nothing, there is no commendation to Ula Christopher, who are washing all their mouth on and have nothing good to say about. and making all kind of claims now that the government plan to get rid of her in March and install another puppet commissioner of police and all kind of nonsense. If you could praise Jamaica for 12% reduction, you should be able to do the same for Trinidad. And if you don't, you're a blasted hypocrite. But I wait with bated breath to see how that will take. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. So, you know, their prayers over time, they pray, hoping for that. If we can't get 700, we'll settle for 625. But we just needed to cross 600. And it ain't looking like you're going to cross the 600. It ain't looking so. So they know what to do with themselves. So Kamala quiet, Munilal quiet, the Doglaya quiet, all of them. Shh. They have nothing to say. Not even my Christmas greeting. The last thing she put up on her Facebook page is a picture of her, as Seo Chung mentioned the other day, every time she comes to Parliament, she had to take a picture out in the corridor. So that's the last thing she posted up, a picture of herself out in the corridor in a red dress. A red dress, not a yellow dress. And then she's trying to send some kind of message. But we don't want you. We don't want all you. Stay right there. Remain right where you are. We good. We good on this side. But I just want to speak to the UNC supporters. Please, what are your thoughts on how things went with Venezuela and Guyana? Are you all pleased with the efforts of CARICOM? Are you all satisfied that there was no need for Dr. Rowley to mediate or intervene? Or is it that you continue to support your leader and the foolishness that Dr. Rowley should have upended the efforts of Ralph Gonzalez and CELAC in bringing this meeting together and play mediator for himself? Why aren't the members of your party, or why haven't they to this date, 4 days after the meeting took place, why have they not put out a statement congratulating CARICOM for the work that they did in bringing about what is perhaps the best outcome that we could have gotten? When that statement come in, we should mix it in with the Christmas greeting. Yeah, so we should hold out for another week. Okay, right. Meanwhile, I see Ralph Maraj in today's Express had a whole lot to say about that Venezuela Guyana issue. Not one mention from Ralph about CARICOM and the role that they played in facilitating this meeting. Not one word. But he's so concerned that the Rowley government is the worst ever. And Kamala, what she did, calling on Maduro, touch one, you touch all, that making sense. 7701763. My throat dry, feeling warm, and I know that cough gonna come back on just now. I really don't want it to. Jenny. Let me get this.
All blessing and love for us for this year and kindness into the new year 2024. Yesterday, Minister Seo Chung would have had his Christmas party at the Belmont Community Center. Well, those centers not as look like complexes because they have auditorium, visitor room, stage, and all that. So it was there this year and it was fantastic. It was bigger than last year. So again, thanks to Minister Seo Chung for taking time out of his busy schedule because, you know, he's the energy man right now.
Yes.
Making the energy sector look exciting. I was never interested in hearing nothing but the energy sector. I know that time we get the oil and gas money from, and that was it. But under his tenure, even more so now, because we have Minister Franklin Can, of course, God rest his soul, but especially under Minister Seo Chung, we have had so much interest in development.
Here. Jen, call me back. I don't know what happened there. Call just dropped. Call me back, Jen. Hello? Hello? Jenny? One second. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So as I was saying again, that the mediation that took place in St. Vincent, again, Dr. Rowley was very correct in not getting involved at that level, because Dr. Ralph Gonzalez would have been more able to do that, seeing that he's the president of the, what's it called, those countries?
CELAC.
South American countries.
Yeah, the Latin American countries, yeah.
Caribbean states, CELAC.
Yeah.
CELAC, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was within his right to do what he did, and it was done, and we wait to see the outcome of that. Both leaders would have agreed to peace, because Dr. Rowley has said this space is a peaceful space, and that's what we're going with. I want to quickly say, I'm seeing that in Guyana, the government has offered public officers 6.5% for this period, 2023.
Right.
Now, Guyana, when you looked at CNBC and other areas, and the IMF and that, they say that Guyana is the fastest growing economy in the world. They're even saying that that economy could grow by 100% in 5 years. They're saying in 2022, the GDP was 62.3%. And why I'm mentioning all this, with all the money that is being made now by the oil that has been found in Guyana, and if we didn't know, if you listen to Mr. Glenn Lal, you'll have an appreciation to the billions of dollars.
Yes.
They are offering their public officers only 6.5%. And I am seeing in this country, unions want workers to cost the Minister of Finance for offering 4%, not for 2023, but for 2014, 16, 17, 19, 2 periods that already went. And under those periods, oil prices were down. We had COVID-19. The whole world had shut down. The economy had shut down in Trinidad, and there was nothing. The government had continued to pay for all public officers to be at home and collect the salary. Not a public officer lost their job. And they were paying people who would have lost their jobs. They would have been given food stuff, and all that was being done and managed under Dr. K. Christopher Rowley, when we wasn't bringing anything from GNP and we wasn't making any GDP. But here, Guyana, the GDP in 2022 is 62.3%. The economy is the fastest growing in the world. And it's projected in 2020, by 2028, their GDP will be up to 100%. And they're only offering 6.5%. And you hear nobody saying nothing. But they refuse to take 4%. As I said, under the condition that left already, they want to take 4% of that. Why nobody cussing and saying Bharat and them wicked, the public officers in Guyana? Why they ain't saying that? But again, it shows you how disingenuous and some of these union leaders are dinosaurs. Because look, just recently, the president of all Trinidad General Workers Trade Union, President something Maharaj is his name.
Nirvan, yeah.
He would have accepted the 4%, a historic signing for a group of workers. I think it's Maya Farms up in Rio Claro. They accepted the 4% and a lot of other benefits for those peers going there. So congratulations to that president who continue to see and understand the importance and the dynamics of negotiation and where we at. And all the other unions are accepted. While the Leroy Batiste, Lambert, and contracted workers for the San Fernando Corporation workers continue to refuse the 4%. And before I go, I want to ask Inshon something. Is it that the things you just be telling people how they don't see, how they jackass, how they ugly, how they black? Is that what they used to tell you when you used to go to school in Tanapuna Secondary? I just asked him, were you bullied at Tanapuna Secondary School and being told all those things? So now that you get older and you're in a position of money, you have now become the bully. I'm just asking. And I'm asking you this one. Is it that you get hold by an African man living in B-Town or in Steelers or anywhere in the East-West Corridor where the PNM people live in? Because you have a problem all the time with African people in those areas. And for those who want to pay property tax, is it because they can't account for your property that you have? Because we are accustomed paying property tax in this country all the time. And then come up as a disaster with Larry Hawaii, they were going to introduce back the property tax. And the way they were introducing it would have been far more money you had to pay than what has happened now. People already start to get the letters, you know. And when they start to break it down and come on the radio to tell already the little amount that they really have to pay when the year comes, people will watch Kamala and them as a bunch of liars and hypocrites in this country. And Incheon, from a lion royal, you come down to a little pussycat and meowing now because we expected the vote to be back up. Not even the councillor for Bamboo vote with you. Not even Khadija, the MP, voted you. Everybody was teared down. God make you have a blessed morning.
You too, Jen. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you, darling?
I am good.
Fair cough. Drink some Tambra
Mm-hmm.
or you carry back.
Okay.
Okay? Use glass, not plastic. Put hot water on your sponge when you wash your wares.
Right.
Don't take that. In shit, the swine. Yes, he's a swine. He has a red juicy. Insane. In shit, you are a swine. You thought hate it. You are confused. You want to be man. Right? You are crazy with his eyes. Go to the madhouse. Next thing, that thing called Campbell. Campbell, we have a question now. You wanted war. You wanted war between Venezuela and Guyana for Pulpot, right? Guyana fucking nation. There's so much if Mr. can do. He was pushing a war, right? To say, look what Prime Minister already called. She would not compliment Harry, you know why? It make her look bad. She want to push ahead, rowdy, by complimenting Ralph Gonzalez. They can look like the jackass. Sorry, slip it up. They can look like the walking hemorrhoid. She's a hemorrhoid with no purpose. She's a bleeding hemorrhoid. If I'm telling you polite, I'm trying very hard. We put sanctions against the nation. So I'm going to suffer.
The people? Mm-hmm.
Do they have unlimited money packed to somewhere?
Yeah.
They have the cut note accounted for. They have that. The cut notes on legal tender. So when sanction a nation, they sanction the people. But then again, you see UNC is the nation. Kamala, the PM, and yellow is the flag. Why does she hate this worry so much? Kamala, he don't want them to tell you. Here's exactly why. You are a whole shoe that Tenchan wore, that Duke wore, you are a has-been, will not be again. And you to say your property Prime Minister what? You spoke the president of how can he sit with you? He can't trust you. Because you can easily kill the man. And when you want to drag these cancers, who's trusting Cameron? The same people you say that you love. You are the Jim Jones in this nation. Remember Jim Jones, Dominic from Guyana?
Yes.
She is Jim Jones, eh? People only vote for her. Because she's their God. Would count for a thought for you? You will function against our nation too. Who's suffering? The same people they say love, right? Because she will bring her bearer and put her happy and be happy. She is not for nation. Calm is for Kamala. She's for the her percentage, whatever it is, you know. And then not stop to think, if it is done to me, how will I fare? Would I be able to go to the drugstore or go to the market? When you come against anybody with the yellow, red, or blue, you come against no perfect party because we're human. But your hate for this nation is demonic. And if anybody go to end, we look for that. Don't have a good Christmas, my darling.
You too.
Bye later.
Thank you. Seven 1701-763. I'll touch on that. Let's see here. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man. How are you?
I am good, man.
Yes, man. See, I think I have a day.
Yes.
After this program finish, drink some garlic and some ginger with lemon. That cough, make it a bad cold or flu going on.
Yes.
Dominic, from now on, I don't really hear this whole talk about people suffering. Because what you see in there, all those places after mountain, like Matt, Quebec, Prasad, West Beach, other places, you know, who can be mad. I think it's pattern space. Don't forget, some of them will be suffering and they don't want to pay the new land tax coming out. Most of them went to Tobago and Calaban themselves.
Yes.
And they will find money to buy loonies, water, Grey Goose, right? The motorcycle to eat, to have a good time for Christmas.
Correct. Double black, Johnny Walker.
Of course, they go find the money.
Yes.
They must have the money. They go find the money. They go find the money. Right? But they can't find money to pay the light bill and the land tax. Right? Because really we can't mad. Mr. Imchan, it should be last week just talking about the legal structure. Asking about the history of bamboo. Isn't bamboo settlement and like legal structure itself? Isn't bamboo a floodplain area? So how buildings came up with? You understand where I'm coming from, Dominic?
Yeah.
You should take yourself in the foot. Because you will have to explain about all those legal structures on the road country, all over the country. You have a right structure. Right? And going on to this situation with all this, accused Margaret Thatcher. She don't know one iota about geopolitics and international relations. Right? If God forbid that there's a big conflict going out there, right? And they get the support of countries like Russia and China. So what will happen to us? Dominic? That too close to comfort.
Yeah.
You will be seeing fireworks across the continent. And then people bounce by fall or not. And this woman is a woman at time, and people still supporting her. Right? Some of the crazy supporters saying that they rather are drunk.
Yes.
And I rather see to call for Prime Minister a pedophile and a rapist.
Yes.
But they say they will support the drunk. That is what they say from them saying now. Right? People, that this Johnny come late, you can Governor Hussein Prime Minister should never a UNC. Johnny come late, part of, I believe that Dr. Panther original approach to run fit in 1992, but she decided to stay back because she decided to run high on her inner ticket. If you remember that, Dominic.
Yeah.
So was a narrow from the beginning. So I'm questioning, she's a Jamaican team. I find individually I'm more than I'm going to say, and put it to the I hear what you're looking at on this queue, or you look for that, and I understand how you support somebody who comes all there, $10,000 if you put them in profit. I have nothing to say about that.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, we're suffering. An entity called Get GXL was able to get at least 135 million TT dollars from Trinidad and Tobago citizens. That's just in the top tier. 10,000 persons, 13,500. 135 million. We're talking about the tiers below that. So, but we're suffering. We can't pay property tax. We can't pay 961 a year. But you could find 13,000. Then you have much more. Brian. Hello? Brian.
Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Compliments of the season. If I have not told you as yet, I don't know if you'll be on next week for me to tell you, so I'm telling you now.
Right. And to you too.
I know. Thank you so kindly, you and your family.
Thank you.
And also to all of the listeners and callers of this particular podcast. All the best to you all and your families. And I hope the new year is prosperous for you all of us, as a matter of fact. Dominic,
yes, sir.
It's amazing how there are some people in this country want to see this country would come to lie, literally lie, because they have their own agendas. And the anti-PNM and the anti-Rowley, the haters. Dominic, up to last night, I don't want to give you the wrong time because I went by the barber and I drove up High Street about 8:30. Dominic, people were replenishing their stocks last night on High Street, San Fernando, around 8:30 last night. Replenishing stocks, Dominic. C3, those of you who live in San Fernando and listening, we had a discussion last night as well about GTA and all these other places. They had to call people to replenish their stocks in the night. You can't get park. See, I go to and I ask, I say, what time are you closed? And they say 11 o'clock for now. You hear me? And they're down south. What about Gulf City? Madness. What about Price Mark? More madness. Pennywise moved from Upper High Street, long Circular Road, because the shop too small. And they go down to the bottom of High Street now where it's a lot larger. A bigger store. Because the branch on Circular Road there, just obliquely opposite the old gas station is no longer there. It's too small, so they go down Lower High Street, where it's larger. Bright ideas. Open the new branch I told you about in Laramie is now open. Crave restaurant. I told you have to call before you come. Otherwise you have to sit down by the bar and wait for a seat and take a drink. Rather expensive. Before you get a seat, cars like going down the bypass by Taruba, their entrance. People run south know what I'm talking about. Marbella, 9 o'clock in the night. Traffic. I'm talking about south. Me talking about in tongue. I don't know about tongue. I'm talking about in south where I am. Where I see with my own two eyes. Right? I don't know if everybody gets money yet. I don't know. They say since the refinery closed down, things so bad that the outlying areas, people suffering and all. Really? Well, then everybody rob them bank in Southern. Because money spending. Understand the market can't get a park this morning. Marabella. So you tell me, people opening up the mouth and say things so bad and this so, oh my God, the country's suffering. And really? And according to you, buildings going up. Doma president, poor fella, he don't know how to coach it. He said, well, it's not really bad, you know, but it could be better. You know, I don't want to say that people are not spending money, you know, but the cruise ships come in. Thousands of people in Port of Spain, from what I understand. Up to yesterday on the barbershop, John Gill was talking about it and John Benoit. So the line then. So people coming into Port of Spain and seeing what this government has done to beautify those buildings that look like my God. You galvanized, hiding the red house. We're not talking about only Queen's Park, Savannah. Look at it today. That program put in our building. We have a new health quarters. Ministry of Health. And a lot of things happening. And people still crying. You know the same fellow who had the walk last week Sunday, where he saw Mohammed. Hear him. Project 600. It has 600 people died this year yet. But he have a walk around the Savannah called Project 600. And have some people following him to walk around the Queen's Park Savannah with flags, black and white flags. And he called it Project 600. What is his advancement of a solution to the crime in Trinidad and Tobago? According to him, sitting down on the JW show in the morning, he and his wife sat around the table and decided that they should do this. All of a sudden, you decide you want to do this. Well, you know what happened? But he makes news again. The rummy. The Robin. Let me hear what you come and say now, no? Before you bring a solution, your idea is to bring Project 600 because that is the psyche. Hey, it's 600 plus 700. No, not 5, you know. Not 4, you know. Not 3, you know. No, Project 600. And people walking around with flag holding up. And what is your solution? You calling on the Prime Minister and the government. But what is your solution to the crime in the country? What is your suggestion? Well, they're around here this week. Well, this is a new week last week. So he makes news too. He robbed his business, please. So you have other things to study now. And these are the type of people who have absolutely no suggestion, nothing to offer the country, except to complain. And things are happening in the country, but no, they're not seeing that. They're not seeing all the companies, all the major companies and organizations that are making massive profits, massive quarterly profits, massive 9-month profits. They're not hearing those things. They're not seeing what the government is attempting to do. They're not hearing what Costa Cummins is doing La Hoquita Talparo. Have they heard him? They're talking about that. That would not make the news. Pastor Google had to come and bring it on his program. I else we would have never known. Who else talking about it? So many things happening like it at How many of us know? We don't, because you know why? That is not news. If somebody get killed now, you go hear about that. You understand?
Yes.
But things are happening around the country. Good things. Development. Investment. Paula Gopi School is doing human service inside and outside of the country, in Central and South America. You know anything about that? No, because that is not news. So we have to go and look for it. Otherwise, Dominic, if you and others don't bring it, we will never hear about it. And there are those who don't care to listen. But you know what's going to happen from effective Christmas night? Fed.
That's right.
Fed start money spending again. Who continues to spend, I should say. Because the next crew, the people who love Christmas, fine. But you see the Carnival crew? And my condolences to Ms. Patrice Roberts and her daughter over the loss of Ricardo Drew. A loss to the soca community. You know, a lot of people this last week here have gone, and it's been very sad. But as we say, all strength is in and life continues.
Indeed.
But to listen to these people, Dominic, through me, you'll be shocked. You'll have to shake your head. And many of them who come out and speak, they have absolutely nothing good to say. I think everybody has dealt with Ishmael, you name up in it, for the bamboo.
Yes.
I wouldn't go there, because I think he has been dealt with by everybody else. But Dominic, well done, good show.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you continue to improve with your health and so on. My crop wasn't as bad as yours, but it is what it is with this, what is going around.
Right.
And I know you will get a lot of suggestions as to exactly what to take, my brother. So you take care and get some rest.
You too.
Thanks again.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
You know, Dominic, I'm listening to Brian. Wonderful contribution, Brian. You know what is? I recognize that people, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but I recognize the politics in the United States of America. Greed and for the love of money is what running through to this world. Right? Look what's going on right now in the United States. You know, there are certain people who want to see Donald Trump back as president. Do you believe that, Dominic?
Yeah.
Despite all the good things that Joe Biden did for the last 4 years, I mean, he may not be perfect. I mean, his age and stuff like that. But come on, man. All they want to go back to Donald Trump. Just like some people say they want to go back to Kamala Persad. Something is wrong morally and spiritually. Dominic, you have a good day.
You too, sir. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, just have, you see, politics has a morality of its own. It's not politics, it's the supporters of the politicians. Hello, good afternoon. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Dominic?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good day.
Greetings.
Greetings, brother. Greetings. Season greetings, all on the live. Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Thank God Dr. Rowley restored the magnificent building in Port of Spain. Because now the tourists have a sightseeing to go and see those buildings and things.
Correct.
And you're going to revitalize Port of Spain. Because cruise ship is coming in and visitors is visiting Port of Spain.
Yep.
Right? So that's a man with a vision. And also, Dominic, you see why Dr. Rowley couldn't be the mediator of that talk? Because there was more than two parties involved. And he was no head of any organization, not the head of CARICOM,
right,
not the head of CELAC, right? So he couldn't just call a meeting and say he will be the mediator. You understand? You have Gonzalez, who is the head of CELAC, a member of CARICOM, and he was the rightful one. That's why Kamala Disesa cannot run Trinidad and Tobago, because she do know leadership role. You understand, Dominic? And also, Dominic has to stress on it. She do not know treaties and agreement. In 1966 agreement, you just don't jump into things like that. There was an arbitration thing that happened years ago, 80-something, with Venezuela, and England and them went to court. And a decision was made. So you have, it is involved in the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. So you got to wait and say, you just jump out and say, if you touch one, you touch all. What kind of leadership is that, Dominic? Okay?
Yes.
So you see Dr. Rowley again on the leadership role. As Mr. Chan said, he's bringing investment into Trinidad and getting the right amount of money as a shareholder of the gas and oil in Trinidad and Tobago to help with our economy and different focused social programs, pension, and other programs that we need the money to make our citizens more relaxed and able to live. You understand? So again, Dr. Rowley, we thank you. Dr. Rowley, Stuart Young, and the cabinet, we thank you all for the magnificent job you all are doing, and we will keep you all in power going forward, because without you all, Trinidad and Tobago will be in trouble. And also, Dominic, those swimming pools that he's opening all over and different sporting programs for football and these the kids to be involved.
Yep.
I hope that other will come out and help, because this will help youth them away from crime.
Correct.
You understand?
Yes.
This program. Okay, Dominic, you have a good morning. Listen to your program.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chance.
Hey, Dominic.
Yes, sir. I am good.
Well, I'm hearing you with a little challenge and a little cough, but I want to assure you that as soon as you feel much better, I will connect with you.
Yes.
And we'll both go and have a beautiful recreational swim in the brand new 25-meter community swimming pool in Malabar.
Yes, yes.
At a cost of $11 million. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is there again, continuing its development through sport and bringing access to swimming to ordinary men, women, and children throughout the country. That was a sport, that was an activity that all the ordinary people knew about swimming was going to the sea and the river. That was an activity for certain people of certain level. When you hear people talk about swimming pool, you must be about the 1% class, that's what?
Yes.
Well, what is happening now is that the government, through its vision, is now bringing opportunities for ordinary people throughout the community. And yesterday, the people of Malabar, Arima, and all the neighboring communities will now benefit from a brand new state-of-the-art 45-meter community swimming pool.
Yes.
$11 million invested in this. And I want to commend the government. And just to recall, we had one in Mova, in Laventille, and in Maloney.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister announced that he's going to refurbish the one in Laos, refurbish the one in Sangazandi, and refurbish the one in Cuba. So you see, we are spreading this business of opportunity throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
So I want to join the Prime Minister in that, in how he's showing how he's raising the opportunity. But I just heard my friend Brian, and I want to ask Brian, I don't know where in San Fernando Dr. Rudolph Monida lives, but if you could find him at all, tell him to stay in his lane. He was talking lots of sport of which he knows very, very little. And I want to respond to him because he got up on the platform quite recently. I was talking about the Brian Lara Academy as well as the Skinner Park facility. Things that he knows very little about, and I want to clear the air for him and those listeners listening from San Fernando. That Skinner Park facility, the football field was oriented east to west. I know that because of my involvement at the highest level. But the orientation for football fields internationally is north to south. And that is why UNICOP changed the orientation from east to west to south. And the reason for changing the orientation is quite obvious. Because you have sunset in the afternoon, and usually the players will complain about sun in the eyes and things like that. However, that does not affect the night game. So that's the reason. There's a recommendation from the International Football Facility that football fields are oriented north to south. Mr. Dr. Rudal Munilala. And the other point you made was the question of the minimum size of a FIFA field. You try to double words, but the minimum size of a FIFA field is 90 by 45. But you know what is the size of the about 90 by 50. So it is within the recommended domestic field. So Dr. Monila, if you do not know what you're talking about, please stay off that lane. I want to compliment UNICOP and the people of UNICOP for correcting the fake news and putting up on social media so that this political gun theology in sport would have been exposed. And finally, let me talk to you, Dr. Monila, about that Brian Lara facility we are talking about. I want you to know that since 2018, that facility is being used by Brian Charles Lara, yes, as a training facility for young people. It is being used by Darren Ganga. It is called the Darren Ganga Training Facility. 5 years now, Darren Ganga has reported that over 500 young people have been attending that academy. So for 5 years now, and he has praised the authorities for giving him permission to use it in the interim for the training and development of young people. And between 2018 and 2023, 500 young people have been trained according to Darren Ganga. I have the videotape, you can get it if you want, Dr. Mulilal. And let me come to the final point about the question of the Brian Lara facility itself. You will recall, Dr. Munilal, that your political leader took Brian Lara to India to show him off and to say, yes, I know the king, the icon, I know him. And thousands gathered, not only to see you, but to see Brian Lara. And you, which are Mataram Kamla Prasad, when the time came to play the honor of Brian Lara by standing together with the government with respect to the construction of the Brian Lara facility, you turn your back. You have people marching up and down on the streets, on the highway. You have people throwing orange skin and clothes into the washroom to damage the name of Brian Charles Lara. And now you have one of your members having the audacity, the temerity, and the brass face to talk about Brian Lara facility. But let me remind you, in June 2024, that facility is going to be a premier facility used to host the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, which is going to embrace over 6 billion and people watching the television and the people on using technology. So Dr. Munilal, stay your lane. You're out of place. You're out of sync. Whatever you are, whatever you qualified in, I know there are some concerns about the university that you attended, but certainly leave sport alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Meanwhile, yesterday I saw the Minister of Public Utilities commission another 2 booster stations, which will improve water delivery to over 4,000 people in Diego Martin. And that is probably the 26th or the 20th booster station that Mr. Gonzalez has commissioned since he became Minister of Public Utilities, improving water delivery to thousands, hundreds of thousands of citizens in areas where before they were struggling to get water. Now we have, I think I saw something in the newspapers last week where some 60% of the population receiving water 24/7. That happened under who? Over 120 something new wells have been dug under the Ministry of Public Utilities under Marvin Gonzalez. All of these things cost money, right? We don't want to pay no increase, no property tax. But let's just dig well, man, and improve the water delivery system. We could waste it. Somebody paying next to nothing for water every quarter, but we'll spend how much money to buy cases and cases of water to drink Blue Waters and Dasani and Oasis and the like. What are these things? Yeah, government doing that. And the gentleman who mentioned about what is happening, Brian spoke about what is happening in Awaketa with respect to the Minister of Youth Development and National Service, continuing to improve and to provide new opportunities for the young people to become entrepreneurs, not employees, employers. More and more opportunities. But what they're offering you on that side, you hear them talking anything about that? All they're offering the young people, load up the matic, cock it back, knock it on them, and knock it again, knock it again. That's what they have. That's all they have to offer the young people. Play with their head. Let me hire, well, according to Kamla, let us resurrect Prince Swami. I don't know who that is, but she created a new artist, Prince Swami. But she killed him, and then I guess she resurrected him. But anyway, but we're going to talk about Get GXL next week. We're suffering, but we choose to spend money what we choose to spend money on, right? Let me just take Eric here before I wrap up. I'm feeling knock off coming back. Eric.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to you. Oh gosh.
Greetings.
Compliments of the season to everybody, to you, yours, and all the debunkers and listeners of this program.
Thank you.
Well, between me anyway, I over here doing book. I say, now, I watch it time. I say, oh God, I say, Dominic done my. Now, I'm over here doing some book and I just kind of lose track of time. Anyway,
right.
One minute, I know what you're talking about because I know now tuning in.
Well, I talk about all kind of things. I talk about Inshan. I talk about the fact that up to now, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has not issued a statement to commend and congratulate CARICOM on the meeting between Maduro and Ali. Up to now.
Dominic, that ain't going to happen. No time soon. You understand? So Sheila Prasad Bisesa is a nepotistic person. She would not congratulate when something is of great importance or good for the country. What is wickedness, deception, and corruption, she will heap that and praise it. The UNC on the whole. So it's nothing new that she not congratulated anybody about this whole thing with the CARICOM and Venezuela and all this bacchanal. So it's nothing new to that. Imchel, right? What you look for, he get. Because I thought the morning she would have lied down on the road in protest that the community demolished the booth
Yes.
So I thought you just throw yourself on the boot or lock yourself like Boston Duke in the boot and thing. Not a word. But you see, these people have a tendency in this country that they alone want to break the law and do things to suit them. And then when they get through, you crucify the government, you crucify the party, PNM party, you crucify the prime minister, you crucify everybody who look of a particular ethnic race in this country. You understand? But then again, that is how they think, how they operate. Once they cannot get on top, they would mash up, burn up, and destroy whatever they could destroy to get that position. You see, right now, Dominic, the moderate now enriched what they wanted it to reach and go past what they wanted to reach.
Yes.
So right now they're vexed. They're bitter. They say, nah, although we have 13 days to go or 14 days to go. Let me see if we could round up a 50 months again. So they will say, yes, this is second year that under the PNM government, that the crime situation is at an all-time high, 600 plus murders in 2023. Now they want to come and talk about on the platform. You understand? They want to come and talk about that. But before I go, guys, 2023 coming to an end. We have 1 year and 8 months to stay focused, do what you have to do, right? And come 2025, UNC will be history. We don't want them back inside that day. You understand? And the government, all they need to hear the concerns on the ground troopers right now. Stop, get off all your high horse and come down to the people on the ground right now, because the people on the ground is crying right now. You understand? Yes, all the development and things to keep is all well and good, but all the people want is to literally see or to feel. You understand? The member of parliament and the executive. So all you get off all your high horses if all you want to get in touch with the people on the ground. Right? That's my take on it. Dominic, good program. You're on next week Sunday?
If what?
You're on next Sunday? Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Right, nice. So I might be in and out, so I might be
right.
So I will stay there.
Nice.
Yeah, good program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. So folks, thank you so much for joining me this morning after this lengthy sabbatical. But it couldn't be helped, as I indicated to you all, because this wretched cough, and that's what it is, a wretched cough. But I thank you all for your remedy suggestions, and I have tried a few. I'll try some more, and hopefully I'll be able to get over this thing soon enough. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and your week ahead as you engage in whatever activities, your last minute shopping, your cleaning activities in preparation for next week. All this time it will be Christmas Eve, and all who doing the last minute baking, the ham and the cake and the sweet bread and the punch of creme and sorrel and all of these things. I wish you all the best with that, but moderation is key. Let us not overdo. Yeah, so once this cough doesn't play the fool on Tuesday morning, I will be back, God's willing. But in the mornings are usually the worst. I don't know if it's probably the AC, but sleeping without AC is stress. But yeah, so thank you all so much for joining us. To the folks on Facebook, my apologies. I don't know why the battery in that device cut off, because it's connected. It's supposed to be charging, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. So thank you all so much, and God's willing, we will chat again on Tuesday morning. Yeah, so enjoy the rest of it.